Then you have just north of there a tropical storm watch, which means, hey, get prepared. The winds are going to be coming. I won't be surprised if that watch turns into a warning with this new advisory. Looking at this right now, there's the eye of the storm that's still there. Looking at some of the wind gusts, Hazelhurst 36, Savannah 38, Brunswick 32, Jacksonville 37. So all of these right around 30-something miles per hour. But by the way, if your power's out and a bucket crew tries to respond, they can't get their bucket crews active until the winds are sub 30, right? So that's a concern. If you have power that's already knocked out, you're not going to be able to restore that until this comes to an end. Here is that catastrophic flash flood emergency, by the way, that's been active for at least 3 to 4 hours now for Lake City and the I-10 corridor. Here's why. Look at this stripe of red. That's an indication approximately at least 8 inches plus of rain. Here is an expansion now of a flash flood warning. It was locked in for Savannah. Now these areas of South Carolina, like Burton, back towards Georgia and Statesboro, they are now under a flash flood warning. What does that tell you? Now these same areas are getting these outer bands that are feeding in. And as it slowly inches its way north, the same problem is going to unfold for areas like Charleston, eventually Myrtle Beach, eventually Wilmington. It's the same problem, just a new city. When you're talking about this inundation the past 12 hours, 3 to 5 inches of rain have already fallen around Savannah. Here real quickly, if you're in rising water, you go up as high as you can, right, into your home or parking garage. If there's a tornado, you go to the lowest level. There's that mixed messaging where it can get difficult when you have a multi-layered threat. Why it's so important to have the Fox Weather app or something that can get you those notifications and abide by the latest warning, because that is the greatest concern that's happening. One of those spots that's under multiple threat is in Charleston. Guess who's in Charleston? Our good buddy, our Fox Weather meteorologist, Bob Van Dillen. He's really familiar with this area, and he's been there for hours now. Bob, I want to ask you about just how difficult it was to get to Charleston for you, because this has been an ongoing threat, and what it's like there, what you've seen over the past few hours.
Yeah, it was a pain in the neck to get a flight to come on in here. I just landed at about 3:45, almost 4 o'clock. It was surprisingly smooth, though. I wasn't getting jostled around at all. It was a nice, steady rain. But that being said, Charleston Airport already recorded a record for the daily amount of rainfall. It's over 2.25 inches right now, and obviously it is increasing. And you talk about the multiple threats. I wrote them all down for you. We've got a flood watch in effect. We're looking for between 20 and 30 inches of rain. Running flood advisory, Rip Current State Run Speed. And I want to show you exactly where we are, because this place clearly is going to flood. And this is Market Street right here. If you're familiar with the area, we're about sea level.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Watching good weather, and I don't know what's going on. Give me just a second. Always have these crazy details.
Used to be a creek right here. It used to be called Governor's Creek, but they filled it in, named the street back in the early 1800s. You good, buddy? And you can see what we've got right here. We do have the flood sign just in case when they finally do close the street.
All right. Sorry about that. How am I feeling? In the past week, since last Saturday night, I've been to the ER 3 times. 3 times. One time because, my heart is racing, blood pressure. Second time I had heat flashes Saturday. And then last night, went back up there. Routine physical. Now they don't do routine physical anymore. And I told them what was wrong. I thought I had soreness, tingling sensation around my mouth. It was very hard to swallow. when I lie down, the cigarettes come from my mouth all into the. Let's just say a hospital is not a good place to get well. Blood pressure is up and down, up and down. Oxygen levels are back to normal. Yeah, it's been total chaos. As you see, I had to go. Oh, by the way, here's something interesting. So I went to ER last night. I had to call them and get me. Same thing. They still. Anyway, so I went there early this morning. Said a couple hours. They discharged me. Don't know what's going on. So I had an appointment for Monday today. So I said, okay, bet I want to go to my doctor's office. I get to the doctor's office this morning. They said they can't see me because the insurance company will not pay it because I saw 2 different doctors in the span of 24 hours. 24 hours. 24 hours. I saw the ER doctor. Now, when I went this morning for the doctor I had, they said they can't see it because the insurance company can't. So basically, so I'm there. My mouth is moving like crazy. It's still tickling right now. They can't see me, so I said, "Well, how much is going to be for my doctor to see me?" They said, "If you want to see it, it's going to cost you at least $300 up front." Yeah. So I'm in pain. The doctor, but it's not my doctor's fault. It is can become. It's the insurance fault, and I don't want to deal with insurance company. I don't want to deal with insurance. I do not want to deal with the insurance company right now because of my high blood pressure. So basically, I had to call my friend in to say, "Hey, this is going on. That's what's happening." So they said they're gonna reschedule my appointment for tomorrow morning. So from now to tomorrow, I had to suffer. I had to find out what is going on. But yeah. So good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Anthony Fun is here. Sherry Destination Fun is here. I know she's probably working. We need a progress report about Florida. Links up there. I know it's 7:00. Yeah. But yeah. So this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to calm down. I got let's see here. It's a commercial. I got the Fox weather down. Hurricane that went to the Gulf Coast of Florida. Y'all getting rain. It is up North Florida, Georgia. It's gonna make it's going north. And then it's gonna go back out to Atlantic, and they're gonna go left towards North and South Carolina. Okay, hold on. Okay. I think we got
or by the ground, by the swamp. And you can see we've already got the sandbags going on right here. In fact, I hope this helps, Steve, because when you're talking about water levels that are up to my up to my waist, probably right about here, the way it kind of gullies out. If we're going over my head, I'm about 6'1". I mean, they've got it about that high, a little bit higher than that. Let's just hope that holds. But yeah, they're handing out sandbags, and I hope it's enough. This might not be. Fingers crossed it'll hold, but that water's only going to get higher, especially tomorrow morning, and probably peak out Tuesday, Wednesday. And if it continues to rain, we're talking Thursday and Friday, more problems. I mean, unbelievable.
And speaking of continuing to rain, Bob, everybody, if we can bring up the graphics, we talked about this last hour. It rained before Devin. We look at the past 5 days, they've already had over a half foot of rain, which means everything is waterlogged. Look at this. Some of these areas, like Hendersonville, over 7 inches of rain. Some areas pushing towards 8 inches of rain. Charleston, just north of there towards Somerville, they got 7 inches of rain. So, Bob, I want to ask you just poignantly, because your position there, they have the greatest level of flash flooding threat of 4 out of 4, 3 days in a row. You are obviously to be safe. What is your plan of action? I know you're with Christian there too.
Let me show you.
You got a team. Yeah, walk us through what you plan to do.
Yeah, let me show you where you are, because this is going to be the low spot right here, we're thinking. It usually is, historically speaking. It always floods. That's East Bay Street way down here. The market goes all the way up the line, and it ends up right around King Street at the very end right there. So this is all going to be underwater. Our hotel is this one right here, but we're all on the 3rd floor, and we've got rental cars that are up on the 3rd floor also, up there on the parking deck. So apparently we're going to be okay, but this is our hotel right there. We're on the 3rd floor. We should be okay. We've got provisions enough for days. I'm hoping it'll definitely last, because when you see this, probably maybe not tomorrow morning, but getting into tomorrow night, into talking about Wednesday, you're going to start seeing all this right here. Just basically water. That's the forecast, going for 20 to 30 inches with the rain. And I've got family down here. I've got family that lives in Bluffton and Beaufort, which is south of here. They're in store for the same thing, 20 to 30 inches of rain. So I got to be checking on them as well. They didn't want to leave, so I hope they're on the higher ground at this point. I think they are.
Hey, Bob, I know you said you got provisions for days, but I've seen Christian Miller go through the break room here. He's been diving into the snacks, so just know he might be sneaking some of those snacks while you're sleeping. So.
We just had a guy walk by and go, do you know where the bar is around here? And I said, actually, I do. And it's the only one that's open. It's on the corner over here. So that is open. We have one bar for sure that's open, Steve. We've got a pizza shop that's open. But that's it. Everything else is shut down. This is a summer night. This place should be bustling. And it's not.
Bob, you can name the guy. We know it was Christian. Christian would probably ask you, hey, where's the bar, Bob? I'll talk to you after your hit. I do want to ask you, Bob, because, of course, you're a meteorologist, so you're looking at the track along with us. Is there any storm that comes to mind for you when you look at this stalling pattern? And I know you've seen New York, hey, we're in the cone, along with the Northeast now. Is there a storm that comes to mind?
I do remember Hurricane Floyd. I was covering it when I was in Charlotte. That came up the North Carolina coastline, and that didn't stall totally, but it did slow down big time, and it was being fed by the Gulf Stream, so it didn't cool itself down with the water upwelling. The Gulf Stream kept on feeding it into the warmer water into the storm itself, so it didn't get a chance to really slow down, and it dumped buckets on North Carolina. So Hurricane Floyd, I remember that one for sure. Even Tropical Storm, what was it? Allison back in Texas. That was just a tropical storm and a depression, and that dropped tons of rain on Texas. I remember these things. Stalling out storms, it's the worst situation.
Yeah, we're showing that right now just for your area, Georgia and South Carolina. And what's incredible about this Fox model, Bob, is just when I'm watching this, as you had said, it's one thing to stall, but to literally just refuel from the Gulf Stream time and time again. And I think that's the scary thing when you're talking about a tropical storm, because people that live in this region have battled so many storms that they're like, okay, it's just a tropical storm, I'm not worried about it. But it's so important to get that message out there, because this is going to likely be a historic event when you're looking at the longevity of this. Bob, great
insight.
That's
what the National Hurricane Center's called for. Yeah, buddy. I mean, it's a conveyor belt of warm water going right into it. That's the Gulf Stream, and that's not going to help things at all.
By the way, I do want to ask you, since you're close, storm surge. Has anybody talked to you about that? Is that something of concern, or they're all just talking, hey, rain is what we're looking at?
The rain is going to be the main concern. We're talking about catastrophic and historic freshwater rain flooding, but we are calling for a 2 to 4 foot storm surge as well, and that could come right up the gut of the Charleston Harbor also. We think that storm surge will start sometime overnight tonight. 2 to 4 feet. It's going to be on top of the high tide, but it's not just in Charleston. It goes all the way down to areas like Hilton Head and the Beaufort area as well. So, yeah, the low country of South Carolina, freshwater flooding, main concern. But we still have the 2 to 4 foot storm surge, which is the saltwater flooding, the Atlantic coming in, and you can't stop the Atlantic.
You can't stop the Atlantic, can't stop Mother Nature. The Hurricane HQ, and that brings us the latest stories that are coming in out of Debbie. It's something that you can download for free to keep those updates. Keep it here, by the way, at Fox Weather. We're going to continue to dive into the nuances and where this goes next, right after the break. Stay with us.
All right, so yeah, sorry, trying to make some dinner. Yeah, it was bad. I was watching it. I was watching the Weather Channel at the ER. So you guys got very lucky. It was in the Cat 5. So. But yeah, it's one of those things you just got to deal with. Especially in the West Coast. The West Coast of Florida. Good enough to hear. How am I feeling? You got 5 hours. I'm mentally upset, physically, probably about 50%. Those of you who want to know, I went back to the hospital last night. Same system, is still doing it now. They did blood work. This time they did blood work. EKG. They didn't do. I know. They see. Here's the thing. I'm on Medicaid. So these knuckleheads. That's right. PG-18. These knucklehead don't care about people that are on Medicaid. Medicaid. They really don't. I'll get a commercial. All right, we get back going to the weather. But yeah, they don't care. Anybody that's on Medicaid, they don't care.
Welcome back. We continue to track Debbie, and you can see some of the impacts that were happening on the Gulf side of Florida just yesterday. This was at Carrollwood, where the wind knocked down a power line, and then this person's front yard was on fire. Just so many different threats that come in. Some of them you can predict, some of them you can't, right? Let's bring in Fox 13 Tampa Bay meteorologist Paul Delgado, the chief, is joining me. And Paul, man, when you talk about just south of you in Sarasota, what an event when you look at those numbers with the rain.
It was incredible, and I think what happened here is, in our state, which we get obviously a lot of tropical storms and hurricanes, people just see the forecast, they say, okay, a hurricane's not coming here, it's a tropical storm, passing just to our west. We're going to be okay. We end up with 28 hours straight of moderate to heavy rain. Rainfall amounts 15 to 20 inches.
Wow.
And we say this over and over. The category of the storm, the wind always makes the headline. Oh, it's a Cat 2 now. But at the end of the day, what really matters is water, whether it's from the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic, in our case, the Gulf, or falling from the sky. At the end of the day, water is what matters. And we got absolutely pounded here. Everything that Debbie had to offer was over us. Those are the numbers. I mean, 16.56. 13.21, a record daily rainfall amounts every place, and even now, there's standing water every place you go.
And at least, Paul, when I was looking behind you there, it looks like at Clearwater Hilton Beach, looks like people are finally getting back out. I saw your tweet earlier saying, finally, this thing stopped. And we'll be talking about where Debbie goes next. That's where we have to jump. This was a quick one, but thank you for joining us here. Fox 13, Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Paul Delgado. Thank you for being with us.
Good to see you.
And let's take it now and talk about
Combat Show. DB22, thank you for coming in. It's been a well, let me just say this. This weekend, I've been in the ER. This weekend, I had to call the ambulance twice.
That's come through with rain at the same time, so you get like a sense that the storm is amping up from time to time. We're actually here in the downtown area along River Road where things look okay where we are, but in talking to some folks who are here still at work, there seems to be a growing sense of concern here. Some folks hearing about roads that are flooded and cars submerged in other parts of the city. So that's something we're going to have to look into. But in general, it's been a very rainy day, windy on and off, and just a teaser to what we could experience. We know local leaders here said we can experience catastrophic flooding because of this storm, and that places that don't normally flood here could flood because of Tropical Storm Debbie. So something also we'll have to look out for. I do want to note schools. They actually started school recently here, and just days into it, they're already having to release kids early from school today, canceling classes for the next 2 days. And they also have a curfew that starts tonight across Chatham County, which includes Savannah. So that starts at 10 p.m. tonight until 6 a.m. And mostly because they're concerned about people getting on these roads and trying to navigate through flooded roads at nighttime. So that's a big risk. So again, let's just bring it back here to River Road. You can see the current conditions. Pretty gross day out. If we can swing around, Ben, I'll get you to turn around to the water. I do want to show the river right there. From times, it's been very choppy out there, Steve, especially with the wind once it kicks up and you can see just the mist pretty much blowing over the water. Not too bad right now, but again, it seems to be that things are just amping up in waves right now. Right now, the rain not too bad, but again, it has had its moment. Steve?
Yeah, and when we look at this, Brandy, the concern is, like you had said, we look at the ebb and flow of this where you're kind of going through the outer band, so there'll be a punch there, and then it'll be quiet. Mm-hmm. Something that I think about when I think about Savannah is the beautiful big Spanish moss trees. The problem is that moss gets knocked down and it clogs the drain, so that's just another factor in all of this. And so we're going to keep diving into what it's like there in Savannah and the Southeast. Brandy, when you look at this event for you, I know you just got there, but I saw your flight, and you trying to get to this was difficult. Can you kind of speak to that? Because I think so many are trying to travel for summer vacation. This storm is just a big headache.
Oh, yeah, Steve. I mean, for me, I was coming from Chicago, and I was actually supposed to head to Miami to make a pit stop before coming back up here. I don't think that flight to Miami ever made it, at least not on time. I ended up leaving Atlanta's airport during a layover and just driving here because things were so backed up at the airport. It was crowded in Atlanta. Again, that was where my layover was. So it was very hectic. But I will say, on the road yesterday when I drove here, it was very clear late at night. So not many people were out. So hopefully that continues going into tonight when we really feel these impacts. And as you can see, we now have another, I guess, band of rain and wind coming in, just like that.
Right? You can hear it on your mic, right? The sound of that rain, but also behind you, you can just see the sheets of rain that's coming in, that pressure washer effect. We'll continue to get those updates. Great job and update from Savannah, Georgia. Fox Weather correspondent Brady Campbell. Thank you for being with us. And we're going to keep it in Georgia, right? We just saw that was Savannah, Georgia. But this isn't just a coastal threat. We're going to be looking at Georgia preparing all around the state for this. And all of that preparation started ahead of this. Let's get an update on what Georgia's experiencing right now. We'll bring in Georgia Emergency Management Director Chris Stalin. And Chris, thank you for being with us. When you look at Debbie and the slow nature of this storm, just inching its way through, what is your greatest concern?
Well, Steve, thanks for having me on tonight. Our biggest concern is the pace. The amount of water that's going to fall in this storm is going to be floods that a lot of folks in these areas have never seen before. Some meteorologists are predicting it to be a 500-year flood, and so because of that, I think it's going to take a lot of folks off guard, and they're not ready for the amount of rain we're going to see.
And can we talk more about that? Because when you hear, okay, a 500-year flood, right? And we have prolific rain. It could be historic. Chris, when you hear that, how do you go into your action plan? What do you start doing in order to make sure everybody remains safe in an event like this?
Well, the biggest thing was conditioning resources. The governor declared a state of emergency early.
I live in Texas, so
almost 48 hours to start pushing resources out. We were providing sandbags and things of that nature early on to the counties as they requested, but also knowing that sandbags weren't going to be enough, we started putting people
in the weather, man.
Recovery teams, swift water rescue teams, air assets that can do air missions to remove boats that they become stranded.
They got to make commercial. All right. So I am watching Fox Weather Live, the Weather Channel. You know, it got the good points and the bad points. When they do live coverage, they're great, but when they don't do live, it's just BS. I talk about climate change. I don't care. I want to know something's come to hit me. Okay, yeah. All right, so as I was saying, last night I had to go call 911 again, so I had the same symptoms. I talked to the paramedics. They don't. See, this is what they said. This is what the paramedics did. They didn't examine me until they get me to the ambulance. They could bring that stuff. Y'all remember when they brought all that stuff to your room? Yeah, they don't do this. Yeah. But yeah, I know. I had to talk about this because the stress is out of my mind. I can't keep it in. So anyways, I asked the first responders that, hey, when I get to the hospital, they discharge me. How am I going to get back home? This is what he said. They said the hospital will take care of that. So, okay. I should have said you got. I should have did it. I should have told them to call me, to call the hospital. But anyway, so I get there early this morning, and these people, these ER people, are way different from people that stay in the hospital to do it. Also pretty good. I had two guys. I think they're like. They're not Coco real doctors. I don't know what kind of doctors they're. Anyways, it's like the team for ER. I don't see the doctors come out. Anyway, so they did that. They noticed that my eyelids. I already told you that a long time ago. You know, back in the day when when my mom was pregnant with me, she did the smoking and drinking, and don't realize the consequences when you do that to a newborn baby. Anyways, I know I'm gonna try to make this quick. I'm cooking right now. I think I got way too high. We're gonna go back to the live continuous coverage. Hurricane Debbie. I think there's two on commercial. So I'll be back. I gotta turn my stuff in. So I'll see y'all in a minute.
And back now on Fox Weather Hurricane HQ, I'm Steve Bender. We're still talking about Debbie, and when you tune in tomorrow, we'll be talking about Debbie, but a different chapter of Debbie, a different iteration, because when you're looking at this is a slow crawl right now. The latest advisory came in at 5 p.m. We're about 30 minutes away from the newest advisory, but you'll see the winds 50 miles per hour, slow crawl to the northeast. I will say this, though. Look at the coloring of Debbie. All of it has fallen apart when it's on land, but I don't want you to overlook that right there. You see that code band at the very end of this? That
TELUS Back to School offers are here. Get ready for the new school year with TELUS awesome deals. Enjoy the 5 gigabytes phone plan for $10 per first month, perfect for kids, students, and anyone looking for a great deal. You can upgrade or downgrade your plan anytime, effortless. Pair it with a cool smartphone or something simple and reliable, because all TELUS phones are on sale. Start the school year right with Tello.com.
some concern because of just that onshore flow, the outer bands, because Debbie, by the way, tropical storm force winds, stretches 140 miles from out of center. So it can dip into the Atlantic in the warm water and jet fuel it back in. If you notice this, we do have some storm reports that are coming in. So this is that broad view, by the way, of what Debbie looks like as we talk about how it can go out over the Atlantic and push it on shore. Look at below me, that's Jacksonville Beach, where you still have the rough surf, and they've actually closed down some of this throughout the day. We had Robert Ray there earlier, and he just looked uncomfortable, by the way, because you can see the sand just pelting him at times. But if we look at the storm reports that are coming in around Savannah and those areas just to the north of there, they actually have concerns because of flooding on the roads because of what you're seeing with the Hurricane HQ. And you're seeing this swirling nature of Debbie coming to an end. So here's the tropical storm warnings that are in place. There is a watch that's in place as well. Something I want to talk about, when you have winds that are that strong, it releases in visuals like this. Power outages start to ramp up. These were live wires that set somebody's yard on fire yesterday. That was in Florida. That can happen when you're talking about this. Here's the power outages as of right now. 160,000 people still without power, right where it made landfall. Big Bend moving through Steinhatchee and up towards Perry. Here's Georgia. They got nearly 31,000 people without power too. Let's talk about what the Sunshine State went through, right? This is Perry, Florida. Early in the morning time, and then Horseshoe Beach. This was all those spots that took the brunt of Debbie as it made landfall. Now I want to take you to Live Oak, Florida. That's where we find Fox Weather's storm specialist Mike Seidel with the latest update.
Although the winds have died down and Debbie has been downgraded to a tropical storm, the heavy rainfall will continue. Prolific totals already here in parts of north central Florida, over a foot of rain. Yesterday, Sarasota on the Gulf Coast had their wettest day ever with just over 11 inches. And this is exactly what happens and what you shouldn't do. Flash flooding, and do not try to drive through a flooded intersection. You don't know how deep the water is and how fast it's flowing. Fortunately, this gentleman got out of his car when the water was just up to his bumper. The car stalled out, and now the water is going up over his hood. Just a reminder, don't go around barricades. And if you're in a situation, especially at night, turn around, don't drown. This kind of situation set up for the next several days, at least through Wednesday, maybe Thursday. In eastern Georgia and the Carolinas, rainfall totals could top 20, if not 25 inches. Remember Florence back in 2018? That kind of impact, those kind of totals. Stay safe and stay with Fox Weather. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel with Fox Weather in Live Oak, Florida.
I want to continue our team coverage here at Fox Weather. Everybody's mobilized for this storm. So let's talk about how once it leaves Florida, it's moving into Georgia, South Carolina. That brings us to Fox Weather's Katie Byrne, who's live from Charleston right now, a city that's no stranger to severe flooding. Katie, you're no stranger either, right? We talked last hour about Adalia. You've moved locations. Talk to us about what you're seeing there.
Yeah, Steve, listen, we've had rain on and off all day. Sometimes it's coming down heavier, sometimes lighter, but it's already leading to some street flooding. We just drove to the Battery here in Charleston from the downtown Fashion District. We ran into a number of roads dealing with street flooding, but we know we're only in the appetizer here. The rain is expected to be at its heaviest tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, rather. And this is one way the city is preparing for this. We've got water pumping from the drainage systems, which are old here in Charleston. This is why, we're in a vulnerable area here. People talk about how they're used to flooding if they live along the Battery or in the downtown section. So the city is pumping water from the storm drains into the river here just to give the storm drains more space to hold the rain that we're expecting in the coming days. We know this afternoon was really the last chance for people to get ready. More than 44,000 sandbags at least were given out in Charleston, which is more than they gave out last year ahead of Adalia. We've seen police staging on flood-prone streets. They're getting ready to close them off once they do flood. Some of them they're just going to close off around 8 o'clock tonight, just in anticipation of what we're expecting as the night goes on. But parking garages are open, filling up fast so people can move their cars to higher ground. But most locals that you talk to say they're used to dealing with flooding in Charleston. I met Scott while he was filling sandbags earlier. He said he's stocked on groceries, just ready to stay home for the next few days.
I don't want it to go through the door, right? Or come under the door or anything like that. So why not? I already work remotely anyway, so I stay inside and I'll just do a little extra cooking. That's all.
When you look at the water here behind me,
Did you know that 96% of customers recommend the Hartford? And those who switch to the AARP auto insurance program from the Hartford, they save hundreds.
Get a free quote today.
Could be, a recipe for disaster for people.
That's the tough part, right, Katie? Because they got the pipe that's pushing it all out right now. But what happens when the water gets above that and it's now can't be released out and it's all just stuck there in Charleston? This is a major concern ahead. And, man, it's such a powerful story to talk about how preparations now. This is when you finalize it and get to higher ground. Fox Weather correspondent Katie Byrne, thank you for that update from Charleston. And let's talk about some of the other areas that we expect to be impacted by Charleston, right? We're going to be talking about some of those videos that we've seen, but also what's expected in the Carolinas, right? We looked at Charleston. Here's another area, Modesto Island, right, where you have such a massive beach. You can see the rough surf. And then, yes, the homes are built for this, where you start to look at how they're elevated. The concern is, though, once the water gets over this berm, there's no way for it to get back over, right? There's no energy to release it back out. And so that's where we talk about the storm surge plays a factor in all of this. We're looking at the greatest risk for flash flooding, a 4 out of 4. It doesn't get any worse than that. And when we look at this is a combination effect where we still do have a tornado watch. And so why it's important when you're looking at those warnings and those notifications to your phone, knowing which one, because for flooding, you want to get to the highest level, away from the rising water. For a tornado, you want to get to the lowest level. And we were talking about the reason why both of those are happening. Both are caused because outer bands coming off the Atlantic move on shore, dumps prolific amount of rain, tropical-like rain, but also because of that frictional difference, there's going to be rotation that's embedded in on this. By the way, this is Tuesday morning. We're just going to keep playing this out because I can talk to you for minutes, and this will still be ongoing. That speaks to the stalling mechanism that happens with this. By the way, I stopped to hear Tuesday evening, this little wraparound, that's the approximation of where Debbie Center is now. It's out over water again, which means it's going to get refueled. It gets almost organized even more. Here's Wednesday evening. Still, the approximation of where Debbie Center is. There's no movement. It goes from Savannah to Hilton Island. It doesn't go any further north than Charleston that entire time. This is Friday, day 5 of the event, and now you're still seeing that onshore flow for these areas. While you're looking at Beaufort, areas like Charleston, and so many of these still looking at a foot to a foot and a half. And there will be some spots that outdo the forecast. Those can't be ruled out. Areas that get to 30 inches of rain throughout this event. Keep it with us here at Fox Weather. We're going to continue to track Debbie and talk about those locations that are going to be impacted not only in the southeast, like.
All right. Let's see here. It looks like we have a new person here. Emily, who are you? And how you know me? Yes, Emily, I am doing a breaking news live event tonight. We had 2 major events going on. One of them affects cruising. The other one affects cruising in the Middle East. So we're going to be going to both of theirs. I'm also cooking dinner. So welcome in. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you, Nightbot. Nightbot is here. Nightbot is my enforcer. They check out everything to see who is legit and who are trolls. So thank you, Nightbot, for doing that. Hit that button. Yes. Let me go ahead and back on out because I am in the process of cooking dinner. So, but yes. So, but yeah, you know what? Let's see here. We got 2 people in the house. One of them is Emily. The other one is an unknown. So, oh, by the way, we're going since I'll be cooking, I'm gonna go back and forth the two top stories of tonight. So that is the plan for this evening. I'm gonna let it run until 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. I have not eaten anything today. I am cooking. Let's see here. So that is the initial plan for this evening. And by the way, Monday Night Raw comes out, and I need to calm down, so I'm gonna be watching that. It's the day after SummerSlam. Let's see here. YouTube. Go ahead and put that. Yes. By the way, I was supposed to get my haircut yesterday, but my pastor, I guess he is apparently he's on 24. Other than doctor, he's on 24-hour call. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. The next we're going to put on is Agenda Free. He's doing the latest updates, what's going on in the Middle East. And yes, they include in the Middle East too. The Med, as far as that is concerned, the Med cushion has stopped for the past couple of months during this war. So, yeah. All right. So I'm doing that. And this is not working like it's supposed to, like always. Well, let's just say I had a rough week. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. So I think you could try it. Let's see if I can get this thing working. If not, come on. Okay. All right. Okay, we got two people here. And my computer is not doing like it's. I'm going to end it. I'm not in the mood to. Yeah.